Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome along to the famous Motor City, and with that, the treacherous Detroit street circuit. Surrounded by concrete walls, our drivers tonight are ready to take on one of the toughest street circuits in American motorsport. Precision, of course, is of paramount importance here. One mistake and it is all over. From hard braking zones, unforgiving barriers, Detroit street circuit demands absolute commitment on every single lap. Joining me tonight, as always, is Sebastian Kinder. And one thing I would like to ask you, Seb, how important do you think qualifying will truly be here tonight, considering it is a street circuit?
Very, 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 very important. We are on the most brutal street track in America, the most brutal street track in iRacing. You want to be on that pole position. You want to have that clean air. You don't want to be stuck behind someone because there's not a lot of place to pass here at the Belle Isle.
Exactly. That was exactly what I was going to think. I mean, you know, of course, it's a street circuit. You never quite know on iRacing how that's going to go. Sometimes you get a fantastic race with those around you where everyone's dancing against the barriers, and other times you have a massive roadblock police, complete escort kind of roadblock thing going on. I'm not quite sure what I was trying to describe it as there, but I think you get what I'm talking about, and that can be very race ending very quickly. And I think with those up for grabs in championship matters at the moment, we've got a couple of big names here tonight, Ridgway being one of them, currently in 6th position. It's going to be really important for him to get to the front of the grid in qualifying. I mean, P6 at the moment, sort of hang in the middle, halfway at the moment on the grid. Not ideal for him. While we still have 1 minute of qualifying left, I would like to point out that we do actually have ATVO live timing by App Engineering. I believe there is a link for everyone in the description to the broadcast for you if you would like to follow along with that. But as qualifying is now coming to an end, Seb, I think it's time to get the grid ready.
All right, and we'll be going to the starting grid of tonight's Indy NXT race on iRacing. The front row, well, surprise, surprise, Ivan Machado Perez. It will be starting all pole position. Alongside him is someone you know on the Velocity Online Racing broadcast channel, is Toby Deck. Second row will be Juan Alfaro from Spain, alongside Kaya Elderson from the Netherlands. Third row will be Matthew Maycomber alongside Robert Ridgway. Fourth row, we'll have Christopher Smith from the United States alongside Zach Purcell from the Isle of Man. The fifth row is composed by Clay Holman and Gabriel Asselin. The sixth row will be followed by Kevin Wexler and Alejandro Rodriguez from Mexico. And starting last on the final row alone is Ivan Donchev, my fellow countryman. Well, tonight, the race conditions, I don't have the link ready, so the race condition, thank you, Julien. The race conditions, it is partly cloudy today at Detroit Belle Isle, but the humidity is at 90.71%, so a lot of humidity. The track temp is at 36 degrees Celsius. It's fine, but it's not the best conditions out there. The wind is blowing 20 miles per hour towards the west, Jack, and that will make for a very exciting race at Detroit Belle Isle.
Yeah, I think with the 20-mile-an-hour wind direction, regardless of what direction that's going to be in, when you're driving these cars around, obviously you see those massive rear wings. They're going to be picking up that 20-mile-an-hour of wind, and you'll definitely be able to feel that. You can see even on the side of the circuits, the trees flapping about in the wind. So there's definitely some gustiness going on with that. But before we get into tonight's action, I want to just read out quickly tonight's sponsor, which is of course iCoaching, and they are a company that they provide fantastic setups, not only for the Indy NXT and IR18s, the big Indy cars, but also the TCR cars as well. And you can get those at iCoaching.co. That's not .com, that is iCoaching.co, just to put that out there. But they are the main reason that we are being able to put on a fantastic show for you tonight. So definitely they have some fantastic setups ready to go for you to use on all the official calendar circuits for this season. But as the field are coming towards the green flag. We have Ivan Machado Perez leading the way to the green flag. Once again, it is a familiar sight in the Indy NXT top split broadcast race. He's waiting very late to go here, and he puts the floor down. He pedaled to the metal. We are green flag racing, and it seems to be a fantastic start, Seb.
Yeah, it is by the book a great start, very clean turn 1 and 2. It's very tricky situation in that turn 1 and 2 when you have a lot of cars in the same position, but these guys are professionals, Jack, and oh, that's a sneaky move around the outside of the hairpin, but Jack, that doesn't work here. And there we go.
Very close.
That's why it doesn't work.
You could see there Ridgway kissing the barriers. He definitely wants to stay out of trouble as much as he can. Being right in the mid-pack is not where he wants to be. Qualifying potentially not as good as he should have done, but almost escaping death there at the very first real braking zone, I would call it, down there in turn number 3. Because
you know the saying, Jack, around those IndyCar street courses, you never finish with the suspension geometry like you set it up at the first practice session. It will be bent and re-bent throughout the whole race.
Yeah, you definitely want to keep the wings and all of the rest of it clean. As you see, they're getting very, very close. I think that was Maycomber getting very close to number 3 in front of him. That actually wasn't. I think that would have been Elderson, my bad, in front of him, getting very close. We're right on board now with Robert Ridgway. Sparks flying from the front wing, maximising his, what he would have paid for the Detroit Street Circuit on iRacing, maximising every little bit of circuit that he could use, as we see now potentially a move coming on here.
Yeah, Elderson, this guy is pretty good, and he nearly was in the gearbox of the guy in front that was Alfaro.
What? Big move there from Elderson. He's going to squeeze it out, make contact with the barrier. They're both going to lose places, Seb.
Yeah, that wasn't a smart move at all. Like, this is by the book, not the good move. Too late on brakes. You see, he locked the wheels and kind of hit the wall. So, yeah, it's not easy to overtake Jack, and you cannot afford to do this kind of mistake. Now you have to do everything all over again.
As we'll get a replay of this. So we'll see the number 3 and number 4 here. These are the two that we are going to be watching, and you're going to see the 4 dive to the inside line. He actually hits the curb, and they both sort of just completely outbrake themselves, Seb. I mean, I think that would have happened anyway.
Look, I mean, now I'm changing my mind. Good job on him to avoid. I mean, yeah, he outbraked himself. Thankfully, that didn't end up in a 2-car pileup, so that's a good thing at least.
Yeah, I don't think that there was a massive lockup as well on the right-hand side of Elderson's car, and I reckon that will definitely, you don't get flat spots in iRacing, but it will definitely play with his tyre temperatures, because the tyres on this sim are very, very sensitive, and it's showing dividends through the left-hander there onto the back straight, clipping the wall once again, and he's going to have to go defensive from Alfaro once again. It's a repeat all over again, but this time both drivers get through very, very clean, and there's actually some dicing going on in front with Maycomber and Ridgway. Ridgway getting very close to the wall there, Seb.
Yeah, and he will make the move, so that's not an orthodox overtaking position, but good on him to make it work, like going around the outside of that corner and then back on the inside for that swooping left before the right before the straight. That takes some huge talent to pull it off.
Yeah, that was well timed there from Robert Ridgway, and he really needed to get that move done, didn't he? Because you look at that already, 7 seconds they are behind Ivan Macho Perez, who still maintains the lead of this race. Toby Deek a mere 4 seconds off of him. So Ridgway, if he wants to make some challenges towards the front end of this field, well, he's made it very difficult for himself already, hasn't he?
He did, Jack, as we see a sneaky battle, and Elderson, I feel like he wants to make up for the mistake he did.
As you see, Elderson, they're riding on board all over the back of Maycomber. This is for 4th position. He needs to really get a good run out of here, as they're both on the push to pass. Well, Elderson actually isn't. Maycomber was briefly.
I think Elderson got a bit too quick on the first corner, and he was kind of like in an awkward position in the second turn, which made the exit kind of awkward. Oh, some action for Asturias.
Yeah, you'll see Asselin getting through on Wixler. I believe that is behind him. Wixler we covered in the Indy road course race and had a fairly interesting and had a lot of screen time there and picking up another battle of his unfolding just then. But we look back towards Robert Ridgway, Maycumber and Elderson, who are fighting tooth and nail really here over a place that's I mean, for the bottom step of the podium. I mean, surely they think that the better thing to do here, lads. You know, we're 4 laps into this one. Toby Dick, I think, is definitely within touching distance. I reckon that they have the pace to catch that number 5 car. But is it? Do you think they're going to work together? You know, is that what you would do in this situation? I think I'd give it a go.
It really depends. I mean, right now, that's a very good question. But this isn't like a novel where you can work together. Like, this is a bit complicated. Maybe you get Ridgway a few laps, see if he loses time or if he gains time to Toby. But if it doesn't work out, if they're still losing time at some point, Jack, you want to pass him because you want to have at least a shot getting second place. We know first place is unattainable because Perez is way too strong. But time is of the essence already.
Exactly, and you know, while I sort of think about it, it is really just another showing of clear dominance. We're 5 laps in. Perez is 6 seconds ahead of Dominique and 11 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. I mean, fair play to the entire pack actually to not have any silly accidents and have any silly coming togethers that would have really ruined the glorious aspect of having the full pack, making it through to the end of the race. But that's just it's an insane show of class from the front of the field, and the man that is so far in front of the championship at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. And we see these guys, even like the people at the bottom of the table, like you see them, they're still on the track, they still have the 4 wheels. And you know, this is such a tough racetrack, Jack. It's so tough. Usually when we do league races there, it's not about who can be the fastest, it's about who can survive this bloody track.
Yeah, no, this is one of those tracks. It's very much like mainly all the other street circuits. I mean, all the street circuits, on iRacing. I wouldn't discount any of them to be any less dangerous than the others, but it really is, if you can get to the end of the race, as you say, it's almost an achievement in itself. You get that feel-good feeling when when you get to an end of a race and you have a good battle with someone. It may be over 7th or 6th place, but I mean, it does almost feel like you're having a fantastic fight in a single-seater around, the best part of a Monaco-esque street circuit.
Yeah, it's a Monaco. I feel like the Monaco S is more Long Beach, but you're not that wrong about this. I feel like it's more Montreal than it is Monaco actually. Oh,
I can get behind that actually. Yeah, no, I could see this is a little bit more Montreal than Monaco. But before we go any further into this one, I just want to have a moment of appreciation for the people that make all these fantastic camera angles, all these fantastic broadcasts, and everything that you are seeing on screen come to life and come together to create the broadcast you are seeing today. The track cameras, of course, brought to you by trackcams22.com. You can see there at the top of the timing tower. These are some fantastic cameras that we are seeing here tonight around the Detroit street circuit. Complete camera packages are available on TrackCams22 for road, oval and dirt tracks. So anything on iRacing, Track Cameras 22 will have you covered. Not only that, but all the onboard cameras are done by the man himself, the man that's behind the broadcast tonight, Julien Altena. Custom IndyCar TV overlays by Andrew Schulte of SKS Graphix. That is what you are seeing on the left-hand side with our fantastic IndyCar-esque timing tower, and then the broadcast production again, once again, done by Julien Altena. That is everything that is you are seeing on screen that comes together to create this fantastic live action broadcast with some camera angles that you can really get involved with. I think Seb, this is fantastic.
What happened to Toby Deck?
Well, I've been waffling away there as Toby Deck has found himself dropping down to 5th place.
Something must have happened in turn 7. That turn is brutal. Or probably he maybe messed it up in the big braking zone there. I think it's turn 5 or turn 4.
Well, we'll get an onboard here. This is a replay, and he clips the curb there, no problem.
Okay.
The car seems settled there, nice and close to the wall as we approach sort of the fountain/roundabout section of the circuit.
Okay.
Really sends it in.
And, oh, wow! I think too much on the curb here, Jack.
Yeah. I think he clipped the curb ever so slightly. We'll get another onboard angle, hopefully. Oh, not even that. I think it's... That's very, very strange. You know what? I think that's a perfect example, Seb, of how uneven and how low grip some parts of this track really is. I mean, you can see there, his left wheels were ever so slightly on the lighter part of the slabbed paving. And even though it looks flat from where we are, when you're driving and you can feel it through the steering wheel, trust me, it's not.
Yeah, because, Jack... Because we Europeans, because we're both Europeans, we are used to silk smooth asphalt racing track. This is a brutal concrete pavement, and they're not paving this this track a lot. So, because those are public roads.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's like any street circuit. Every time you come to this in the real world, there'll be different grip levels. There, you know, different corners might have more grip than they did the year before, and then different corners might have completely less grip. You know, as we see, wow, that was a massive amount of the curb there from Elderson there through turn number 2, almost 2 wheels on the grass as he's really trying to claw back at Maycomber there to try and rip back what is now going to be 3rd place. So this battle that has gone from fighting for the bottom step of the podium is now fighting for 2 spots on the podium. And the only man in this fight that is not walking away as it stands with some silverware is Elderson in that number 4. Ironically, in 4th position as well, and with a fair bit of push to pass as well. 49 seconds to use here, Seb. I think he's in a pretty good place.
Yeah, he's in a pretty good place. Just a shame that he had this little moment with Alfaro early in the race, because that you see that has put him in the back foot, and now. And that stays in your mind, Jack. That stays in your mind. Like, you know you've made a mistake. You know maybe you're not that good on the brakings, and now you're trying to say, okay, let's avoid dumping in. I still have some points to play, and yeah, maybe a little restraint from Elderson for the following few laps before he fully sends it again.
Yeah, I think one thing you really need to take into account here is these cars are not going to be stopping for 35 laps. So you're going to be running these tyres for 35 consecutive laps. You're not going to be obviously having a new set of tyres, so you need to nurse these to the end. And on a circuit like this, I think that having tyre life towards the end of the race, as we see now, this could be a massive moment for Maycomber as he needs to defend from Elderson, who has got a pretty good run at the moment. I think there might have been a fair use of push to pass, because that gap definitely looked a lot wider than it did at the start of the straight.
Yeah, now for listen, you need to stay behind him as close as possible. You have another straight coming out the next corner, so you need to be as close as possible. I think that's close enough, Jack. Maybe a little cheeky move. A bit tight.
It's almost,
he had it.
He's really struggling with that wake and wash from the car in front. You can see as we came onto the back straight, riding on board with Elderson, the front tyres just didn't want to bite, and they're not going to be going off a hill 10 laps into this race. That's solely going to be just him getting in the dirty wake of that car in front of him from the number 6 of Maycomber. And you really need to sort of think ahead in this situation and adjust your lines and adjust your inputs more importantly, to not get that understeer or that snap of oversteers, especially as I was mentioning before, towards the end of this race. You know, there's a lot of traction zones here, Seb, isn't there? There's a lot of slow corners, a lot of right angle corners,
yes,
a lot of left angle corners. So you really want to have that tyre life towards the end, because otherwise you're almost a sitting duck when the rear of the car's swaddling all over the place. Elderson, what a challenge. He nearly had it there. He's super quick through 1 and 2, but I just don't think the gap's going to be there.
So look at this. Elderson usually carries a bit more speed in 1 compared to a lot of people. So he sees the opening, and oh, thank God, he left, because that would have been a crash.
Oh, you could see the massive slap of oversteer that he got, and managing to correct it and control the car and not turn around Matthew Maycomber in front, because that would have only created more problems for himself and of course Maycomber, that would end up most likely without a rear wing and facing the wrong way. Both drivers managing to walk away from this one, but Ridgeway has sort of been left out of this conversation for the last few laps. You know, we haven't really spoken about it. He's led this pack rather faultlessly. And look at this, actually, Seb. Look who's in the background and look who's joining it. Toby Deek is getting back involved.
Nah.
Just like a shark, Toby Deek made the mistake and he's really getting involved back in this battle. He's started second, he's dropped back to fifth, you know, in the number 5, and he's really going to be determined, the Dutchman, to get back involved for that fight for the podium, because he's definitely a driver that would have been over the moon with starting on the front row, and to lose that will only add to the motivations for him to get back involved and trying to make progress back up this pack. But at the moment, it sort of seems to be line astern with this fight at the moment, Seb.
Yeah, I mean, again, we have like 1 or 2 opportunity to pass here, so you're going to be conservative and just wait for your moment. Right now, I feel like Elderson is probably back down a bit, trying to regroup and try again later. So we'll have like 2 or 3 laps, Jack, of like nothing, and then I feel like we'll have one of these guys trying for a next charge.
Yeah, I think that must have definitely spooked him, the fact that he nearly took himself and another car out of the race, that it's just getting back into that rhythm. Toby Deek is around number 2. Oh, Toby, no,
same corner.
How on earth has he managed to do that? It's the same corner, but just, I think, a little bit further round, Seb.
So...
it's going to be on the power.
Yeah, just too early on the throttle, Jack, and that's... There's many ways to mess up at this corner, because I feel like this is my least favorite corner, by the way, of this track. You can either go super tight, and yeah, Alfaro got past. You can either go super tight, or you're too early in the throttle, and she goes around. I mean, again, these cars are snappy, Jack. They're snappy, and you take that corner in first gear. So...
yeah, you really need to have the right foot of an angel, especially because you can't really see too much from the camera angles, but you can definitely see it when we're on board with the drivers. The circuit actually banks away from the drivers, so you know it's not so much like a NASCAR circuit where, you know, an oval where the banking would be in your favor. The circuit actually drops away, so it sort of promotes even more oversteer than you would get out of a normal corner. And if you're even the slightest bit over the limit, it gets amplified by that drop in surface. But while we watch on board here, watch that left tyre constantly bounce up and down as we ride on board with the number 5. This is the perfect camera angle to show how bumpy this circuit is. You can see there the car just slides towards the wall as he manages to get through, this time absolutely perfectly without any problems. But while things sort of calm down a little bit, I want this to be the perfect opportunity to just introduce, you know, the fact that this is a long race and Toby Deek will be able to come back into this one, I think. And with the tyre life that he would have been able to save, I think, you know, he's got clean air, so I think he could maybe come back into this.
Yeah, he showed he has pace. He just needs to calm himself down a bit. Right now, you're just try to finish the race without any more mistakes. That's the number one thing. Try and get that top 5. The rest, you know, forget about it.
Yeah, 100%. But regardless, if you are enjoying today's coverage of the Indy NXT iRacing series, please make sure to smash that like button, to subscribe, and do all of that good stuff, because as I'm sure everyone who has tried YouTube in the past, including myself, the YouTube algorithm is definitely not for the faint-hearted. It is very difficult to gain much traction, so any help that you could provide for us would be absolutely fantastic and would not go missed, because we have a whole load of Indy related things to come your way over the coming months, which will start off next week for the same time. It will be the Indy NXT make their return, this time to Gateway. So we're going from a street circuit to one of the most difficult ovals that there is in all of iRacing. After that, VOR is the version of the Indy NXT. So that's not the official iRacing series. That is the Velocity Online Racing League. will go to the Milwaukee Mile. Be tuned for that. And then we are for the International IndyCar Series. That goes to the Indianapolis Oval. That'll be a cracker of a race. That coverage will start at 3:30 Central European Summertime. Indy Open EU soft race after that on the 16th of the 5th. I believe will be June, not May. So that will be the 16th of the 6th rather than the 16th of the 5th for Road America.
Oh my God, Jack! We're turning back the clock!
We'll be time traveling here on the Velocity Online Racing channel for that one. And then the last thing for June will be VOR Indy NXT at Road Atlanta. Another bumpy road course for these drivers to contain with. So we got another replay here, Seb.
So Kevin Wexler, so we're coming to... Oh, hit the wall a bit. Oh! That's what happened. You hit the wall, and I feel like you came in too fast to that corner, and you're you're upsetting the car, and she goes around, Jack.
Yeah, you can see it's just ever so slightly taps the wall on the entry, and that really unsettles the car, especially when the cars are so stiffly sprung like these single seaters. You know, any sudden change, as he's actually lost his front wing for good measure, so that will be a trip down pit road for him. And I'm sure that we could see that car be our latest exit from this one, as we've got another replay here with Alfaro. This is into turn number 3, the big braking zone. Is he going to go long? He's going to go wide, and he's going to smash the tire wall, Seb.
Oh, he's lucky that wasn't wheel damage. That could have been so much worse, Jack.
Yeah, that could have been so much worse. The front wing actually looks absolutely fine. He's been gifted an angel's wish there to not have any damage on the front wing, from what we can see at least. Currently running 5th and started 3rd. It's not been a race day of much progress in the right direction for him, but he is staring at the rear wing of Toby Dexter. Maybe for him he can make a re-challenge for that 5th place.
You know what it was, Jack? As soon as he saw like he had no damage whatsoever, that's the one-up mushroom from
Mario. Yes, no, 100%. I mean, that's almost like the you know, the one where you can change color and you sort of have all the sparkles coming off you, and you don't really take any damage from anyone when you try and bash into them. I think that was a very lucky moment for him in that sort of respect. So we look now back at the main fight that has been involving Ridgeway, Maycumber and Alderson since the start of the race, really. But it's still line astern, and I think that at this point in the race, when there's no real pace advantage, you're just waiting for the driver in front or the driver behind to make a mistake. As we continue to look on board with Robert Ridgeway in that number 2 car, you can see how bumpy. You can see the suspension arms, both on the left and the right, moving up and down consistently. And once again, it's just the perfect visual example of how much these cars move around and how much you need to be predictive of, if that's even a word, or have the ability to predict. That's much better. Where the bumps are going to be, how the car's going to react over that, as we have the number 9. That's Ivan Danchev down pit road. He's going to go a lap down, and I believe that will be because of some damage rather than a pit stop, as this is now Elderson actually having to go defensive from Maker, but the number 6 is going to go up the inside. A beautiful move from Matthew Maker, and he tries to close the door, but there's contact being made. No damage, no bodywork goes flying just quite yet, and Elderson is going to... Oh, I spoke too soon.
He lost it on the front. Oh my god. I think that's still him. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Elderson is not happy about that one. He's managed to tow the car and tow it back to the pit lane. Wow. It's a very good move, rather than trying to keep it going.
That's such a shame, Jack. Look at a little contact here. That was getting such a good battle. Maycumber did the hardest, and that's the first time I've seen someone lose it here. Yeah, just too much on the throttle, and bam, and Elderson had no way to react.
Yeah, it's when he had that slide and he sort of counter-steered as he should have done, but as he's lifted, Elderson obviously did not sort of see that coming, and you can see there, bang,
No, you cannot see it coming, Jack. There's no way you can see it coming. So, yeah, you're just a bystander.
And that is exactly what we were talking about. You're just waiting for someone to make the mistake. And in the favour of Robert Ridgway, he has had 2 cars chasing him, now to being a completely lone wolf as Elderson now makes his way down pit road. That's going to be a front wing change for him.
And, case proven with Toby Deck. Just stay clean and just aim for that top 5. And look at this. The doors of heaven open for a podium position for him.
Yeah, that would be a fantastic result for Toby Deek. Starting on the Seca, I'm sure he would have wanted a little bit more than that, but currently still on the podium positions, that would be a fantastic job from him. But the one man that, again, we haven't really mentioned much about this race is the race leader, Ivan Machado Perez, doing a fantastic job at leading this race, but there's actually more action on track.
That's number 4. That's Elderson back on track. At this point, Jack, yeah, as I said, just keep your head down and, yeah, just try to salvage what you can.
As you see, Ivan Machado Perez, 19 laps led today, which is every single lap that we have run so far. It's just a clear dominance performance once again from our championship leader, really showing that there are truly levels to how you can drive this Indy NXT car here on the iRacing service. Whether it has been an oval or whether it has been a road course, this man has constantly been in contention and is really the benchmark in Indy NXT iRacing series competition, as he is now pulling out the best part of a 34-second gap over Ridgway in second place. And you can see there that, well, the driver's standings isn't actually in his favour. Perez is down in 3rd rather than Ridgway leading the way, 126 points ahead. But when Perez does show up, he looks like the championship leader, doesn't he?
Yeah, but Jack, as I usually say, where this isn't Formula 1, you're not only doing road and street tracks. There's always the oval side of it. And I don't think we've seen Perez a lot in the ovals part of the schedule.
I think that is the beauty of IndyCar racing, whether it's Indy NXT or the full IndyCar series. It's amazing that you have almost 2 completely different disciplines within its own championship. As we run on board here now, this is Aslian and Elderson battling it out once again. Elderson coming out of the pits after that unfortunate loss of his front ring after contact makes that move relatively easy. Finds himself back in 6th position, and he's now going to be on a charge trying to hunt down Holman in the number 13 before he's back with Toby Deek.
Now we're getting to the second. Well, we've been getting into the second half of this race, Jack, and with a lot of that action, now that I feel like the field has pretty much spread out, so it becomes a drive to survive race.
Exactly. It's sort of a, at this point of the race, the field is usually a lot more spread out, and there's, unless you've got a very, very, very close knit field, it's very difficult to sort of catch up and make those moves, and everyone sort of goes into their own bubble because the dirty air definitely does play an effect here. It's very difficult to make the move and engineer a move, especially on a street circuit like this, when you have that dirty air that comes into play more often than not. And this, as you say, getting into the second half of this race, this is where things sort of calm down a little bit. But when they come together, when drivers come together, that is, it becomes instantly, it goes from 0 to 100 literally just like that, because the drivers know that this could be their only opportunity for the rest of the race.
Exactly. So Jack, while we have a bit of calm, I want to bounce back on what the schedule is up ahead. Gateway, and when we were doing the Indy Pro 2000 PM18, well, it was still the open series that it was in C-Class, it was wonderful. It's one of the best oval tracks for the Indy Pro cars. So I'm very looking forward to seeing those Indy lights going around Gateway, because it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, and you know what?
If you
100%, I'm really looking forward to it, to be honest with you. But if you're planning on trying to compete at the top end of the top split field at Gateway, be sure to have a look at today's sponsor, which is iCoaching, because as mentioned previously, their high-level setups and personalized coaching programs are built to take your iRating and race consistency to the next level. You can always get your setups for this series and the IndyCar Racing Series, and now TCR, by visiting them online at iCoaching.co, not .com, that is iCoaching.co. And well, if you're not a driver, but you're a league that is looking to go to Gateway and would like some coverage, make sure to go no further than Velocity Online Racing. Because, you know, here at Velocity Online Racing, we deliver professional iRacing broadcasts, providing an authentic race day experience. Our custom IndyCar style overlay creates a clean and immersive viewing experience, reminiscent of that professional motorsport broadcast like you see on NBC, Fox, and so on. Streamed in 1440p, of course, 60 FPS production, and with the expert commentary by either myself, Sebastian Kinder, Gary Godso, or Howie Burrows, we can fit whatever needs that it may require. You want to relive the biggest moments, of course. VOR also offers the post-end highlight reels and videos that can spotlight the most important and exciting moments from the league race. Broadcast packages start as low as €50 per hour. You can, of course, if you're interested, contact us at velocityonlineracing@gmail.com, of course, to learn more. But away from that, as we turn our attention back to the action, I'm looking on my screens at Ivan Machado Perez. He's starting to make his way through a little bit of traffic at the moment, negotiating it absolutely fantastically as we now ride on board with him. You can see the throttle and speed graph here, and we'll be able to see how careful he actually is on the throttle.
Now, yeah, people watch this because this is how a surgeon operates. No margin left. He's optimizing every little inches of this straight track. So again, he's freaking Alex Palou. He is Palou, Jack. He's stopping the field on road courses.
You can see that. Oh no, it's a spin. Whoa, watch out, watch out. Oh my God, how on earth was there no contact there?
I jinxed him, Jack.
Oh my word, that is 2 times that we have spoken about a driver having fantastic car control. Next thing we know, they're facing the wrong way, and that was nearly completely race ending for Ivan Machado Perez.
My goodness,
right on board here, Seb. Try and get a load of this one.
Yeah, I mean, already been warning. Not much curb, and you know it's kind of like the Jimmy Johnson spin at maybe some contact with the wall, maybe, Jack. The front wing is looking pristine, so...
How he didn't lose his front wing, I will never know. It's almost like
iRacing gods.
Bottomed out. I think the car could have bottomed out or something, because he went through a little bit of a compression there in the last corner. I don't think there's going to be any sparks.
Yes.
But, you know, these tyres are getting now onto the best part of 25 laps old, and that rear left especially gets used a lot around here in all these traction zones. And I think it just decided to, you know, okay, I'm going to put my foot down and I want you to go a little bit easier on me now. But I think it was Gabriel Asilian that came through next and almost collected our race leader, which would have had some very frowned upon faces there at the Machado Perez camp, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, Perez had like 40 seconds on Ridgeway. He only has 33, Jack. This is unacceptable.
Yeah, when you can spin, have to do almost a 3-point turn, get going again, and you're still half a minute ahead of your competition. That is truly a statement to behold, and I think that is only courtesy to how fantastic his abilities are behind the wheel of this Indy NXT machinery. And you know, I don't think I'd even be able to get close to the top 5 in this, let alone him.
10 laps remaining, Jack, and yeah, these races usually flow by, and we don't have to worry about fuel strategies or anything else.
Yeah, I think today it's been a relatively straightforward fuel strategy. Of course, there are no pit stops. We made that point from the get-go in the opening pre-race show, but it is all about the tyre management in this rather than the pit stop strategy. And although that may be a little less exciting for the viewer, it's definitely an exciting feat for the drivers on circuit, because you know, it adds an extra aspect of management into the mix. I mean, of course, it's nice to see the cars down pit road and attack the pit box and attack the pit entry. You know, you get all that amazing pit exit drama where you have drivers come out side by side. But then, you know, once that 20 seconds of drama sort of out the way, from a driving standpoint, it's sort of, okay, I'm just going to go, you know, 110% full push. As there was someone spinning in the background from what I could see out of the commentary window.
Of course, this happens when Discord. Oh, Purcell, watch out for that.
I think it was Perez. I think Perez has spun again out of turn 2.
Again?
Because look at the timing board. It was 5 seconds, and now it's down to 29 rather than 35. We'll get a replay on board of this. Yes, it was.
Whoa!
And he makes contact and again gets away with murder, smashing the. Oh no, you can see actually a little bit of damage there to the rear wing.
Yeah, there's gotta be damage. So that's the exit of turn 2. Actually, this is very interesting.
So what happens here? Does he get a little bit trigger happy?
Wow, on the bumps again. I think you nailed it on the first spin, Jack. There's probably like some compression or the car bottoming, and that's what's causing those spins, Jack. So maybe Perez's car will try to kill him one more time. He doesn't have this one yet.
You know what, Seb? Looking from the body language of this car now, we're riding on board with him. It looks a lot more difficult to drive now. You can see, look at the steering inputs.
Wow.
He's constantly adjusting. This car has now turned into a right animal for this man right here. He's now got 9 laps of nursing this car to the end. Look at that.
Oh, it's
through
evil.
turn 1, it snaps twice, and then through. Look at this through turn 2 as
Jack.
well. Ninja hands is being needed behind the wheel of the number 1 car, Seb.
I think the right rear may be bent. There's gotta be some damage on that right rear suspension, Jack.
I don't know if my eyes are playing tricks on me, but now you've mentioned it, looking at that right rear wheel, it doesn't look quite right. You know when you look at something and you know it's roughly in the right place, but it just doesn't match the other side. You know, do you see what I'm saying, or am I just coming across as a complete?
We had a quick shot of his rear, and I think it does confirm me into thinking that his right rear may be damaged.
But then again, you look at it from this angle, and the car seems okay.
I honestly, Jack, overheating tires probably as we got in our ears, and you know what? That's a good call, because he spun in like 2 laps.
That's very true. You know, the tyre management, these tyres here on iRacing, regardless of what car you're driving, and especially with the 95% humidity and 34-degree track time that we have at the moment, which you can see on the bottom right of your screen, that's only going to make tyre temperatures worse. And like I was saying on iRacing, you know, regardless of what car you're driving, the tyres are so sensitive to heat spikes, and that can really affect the grip, and then it turns into a snowball effect where it just gets worse and worse and worse. And no doubt there is some damage on the right hand side of that rear wing of the number 1 car. I've seen it a little bit. You know, you see the paint sort of starting to chip on the rear wing as we look at it from the left hand side or from driver's right, and that won't necessarily have a part to play in the low speed corners, but definitely through corners like turn 1, turn 2, the sort of roundabout fountain section as well. I think that would have an effect with as well in those higher speed corners. And you know, we wouldn't really be able to tell that without the fantastic camera angles. Oh, hello. Whoa.
Sir, you can't park there.
I was going to say the fantastic camera angles by Track Cams 22,
yeah,
but
it was a fantastic view. Oh, that's Ivan. Oh man, my countryman. Oh no.
Ivan Danchev, how is this going to unfold? Is he going to lose it on the brakes? He's going to get a little bit too trigger happy.
Wow.
It's trigger happiness. That's the thing we've been seeing quite a lot actually over the course of this later stages in the race, and he's going to leave the car there, whack it into reverse gear, slam the rear wing as well for good measure, and here comes the race leader. Oh, hello. That is not something that you want to be meeting on the Detroit streets when you're driving a 180 mile an hour Indy NXT car.
As we say in France, Monsieur, vous pouvez vous garer là, monsieur. There.
Oh no, another spin
That's Toby
for Toby
Deck.
Deck. This is
First time.
crazy. We've had 3 cars spin in the last 5 laps, and this is really just I think,
Drive to
a
survive,
visual
Jack.
100%, and a visual representation of how important the tyre management is here tonight.
And yeah,
He
on the
locks the front.
yeah.
I think that was actually
Yeah.
more on the way into the corner because you could see he was locking the front right. And as he turned in, that was when the car started to go. So maybe the brake bias a little bit too far to the rear end of the car for that number 5, causing that instability into the apex of the corner. As we now look back at our race leader, who still has that damaged rear wing. And I think he's managed to get the tyre temperatures back under control, Seb. But no doubt he will be pushing a little less than normal as the gap is now down to 22 seconds.
Oh my god, Perez is only leading by 22 seconds.
But it was 35 at one point. I know he had another spin,
Yeah.
but when he got going again, that was 29 seconds. So he's lost a lot of time over the last 2 or 3 laps. And you know, if this race went on long enough, I think he'll be okay. But Ridgeway could have been in with a shout if this race went on for another 20 or 30 laps.
Oh my god, look again. Yeah, look at lap 30, lap 28, or yeah. There's like 9/10 difference, and I don't have. I don't know what's his fastest lap looks like.
You can see there, and the fastest lap on the left-hand side is an 18.3, but he's now doing 22.8, 21.9, so it's really dropped off in terms of pace for our race leader here tonight. And when you compare that to Ridgeway, his fastest lap, albeit, was a 1 minute 20, but if he can stay consistent with that till the end of the race, he's definitely going to eat into that gap a lot more. As this is, we ride on board with the number 7 for the first time this evening, Zach Purcell.
But the thing saving Perez is that there's only 5 laps to go, and he still has a 20 seconds lead. Do not spin. Just bring it home. No worries if you lose 2 to 3 seconds per lap. It's still fine. But if you lose 5 or 6 seconds a lap, you're done. And right now he's doing the worst because he has 4 laps to go, and he has a 21 seconds lead. Thank God for him. This isn't a full distance race, because if there was not Vastin Jack, he would have been in trouble.
Yeah, he's managing to hold it at around 21-22 seconds at the moment. It's slowly chipping away. I think Ridgeway is still chipping away at the best part of the range of 6 to 3/10 per lap out of that lead. But as you say, with 4 to go and a 20-second lead, you can afford to sort of give up the large majority of that lead to ensure that you bring it home. Because although it's nice to finish with, you know, many seconds in the bag over the rest of the field, but the ultimate thing is that you finish in front anyway. You know, when you've got no one around you and you can afford to give up a few seconds, it's always better to do that. As we come towards 3 laps to go, and he's done a faultless performance, really, just apart from that, Seb.
Yeah, from Perez, that was a faultless performance up until that first spin, and then after that there was another spin, and now he's losing time. But I mean, as I say, he's losing time. He's still at 21 seconds lead, and there's 4 laps to go. So again, it just shows how tough Detroit Belle Isle is, Jack. Even the best are having troubles on this track.
And another man that's having some troubles at the moment is Purcell in the number 7. He's struggling to get past Atlas Asselin. Oh, you're right. Robert Ridgeway. He's vanished off of our.
Is that a DC?
Oh, no, he's down in P8. You hearing a DQ?
DQ. How? Wow! No, it's done.
Oh.
The car is done.
That's a very bad.
Jack. How?
Right, well, we've got a replay, so we'll have a look at this. This is on board with Ridgeway of the incident that we are yet to see, and he turns into the second to last corner.
Oh, he's
takes an arm and a leg of curb, and that flies the car into the outside wall. Monumental impact for that number 2.
You saw. I was looking at the wheel, Jack. He was still in 3rd gear, taking that corner. He was coming in too fast. A disaster.
you could just see he's gone in with the extra speed and tried to make it work on the curb. And as soon as he's touched that curb, it lifts the entire front end off of the racetrack. And when you're, the two tires that are supposed to be doing the steering are no longer in contact with the racetrack, that is not what you want to be doing. And of course, with the concrete wall coming up very quickly, he just goes flying into that at the best part of 200 kilometers an hour.
And it's crazy because there were only 2 laps remaining, and he had a long lead on Alfaro and Deck, so there was no need to push like that, and that's points that are going to be very costly, Jack.
Well, looking back to this number 7 and number 8, these two have been following each other nose to tail for the last 10 laps. He's really struggled to find a way past as Zach in the 7, and he's a little squirm of the tail there from him as he comes into the last 2 corners. Make sure you don't clip the curb like Ridgeway does. He manages to get through absolutely no problems, and there's going to be no push to pass on this occasion down the home straight to start their second or penultimate lap of this race. And I think that it is the best part of P7 for the number 7, unless Celine in front can make a mistake, and that wouldn't be something that you want to do. But I'm sure that Zach in the 7 would be liking that very much if it were to happen, as the leader now starts his last lap, 36 seconds in the lead. It was just under 20, but unfortunately Ridgeway, with that very unfortunate accident with literally 3 laps to go, has handed Perez back to the half a minute mark in terms of the size of his lead. Alfaro is looking to bring home, as we actually said. Look at this.
He will go for it, but not enough. That was yeah, he had a look there, but he wasn't close enough, as Julien was, to make, if you're like front tires, rear tires coming to that corner, yeah, you better back out of it, because that would be a lousy situation.
Regardless, though, it has been a day of many spins and a day of many different actions and consequences, but one man that has yet again managed to come through and pull through with a fantastic performance to take home yet another win. It's been a spin without losing the win. It's going to be Ivan Machado Perez leading every single lap here tonight, taking yet another win in the Indy NXT iRacing series. My friend, we will have to stand and applaud, because that was a masterclass of performance. 37 seconds it is across the line.
And I dig that Danny Sullivan reference you had there. So this is a fight for 3rd place, actually, Jack, and Toby and Elderson. That's going to be very spicy. Elderson running out of room to make a pass here, Jack.
It's going to be Elderson that's going to be chasing the rear wing of Toby Deek to the line. He's got a pretty good exit out the last 2 corners. Is there any push to pass? Now's going to be the time to use it. They're both on the button, and it's going to be Toby Deek that's going to take 3rd place away from Elderson by mere margins, and a massive accident to celebrate for the number 5. Well done, sir. It's not 2nd place, but it's all that he could have wanted. A podium for the number 5.
That was a great race, despite the very short grid, Jack.
You know what? I was just going to say exactly the same thing, as we see now Purcell and Aslin coming across the line in 6th and 7th. It's going to be Purcell that actually outbeats that number 8 across the line, managing to make the move in the closing laps of this race. But here we go with the results. It's going to be Ivan Machado Perez that takes the race win away from Juan Luis Alfaro by a 37-second margin. It's going to be celebrations for the number 5. Toby Deek brings home a podium after a very good recovery drive. Kaya Ere Elderson in 4th, followed by Clay Holman, Zach Purcell, Gabriel Aslin, Christopher Smith, Robert Ridgeway after a surprise last 3-lap accident, and Ivan Danchev rounds out the top 10.
And and in 11th place, Kevin Wexler will come home with his number 12 car. 12th place will belong to Matthew Maycomber after that impressive crash with Kaya Elderson, and dead last and 30th, unlucky 30th for Alejandro Montiel Rodriguez. Those are your unofficial results for round 7 of the iRacing Indy NXT series.
And you know what? I think after that race, Seb, we have an awful lot to look forward to when this series returns to Gateway, because this is, I think that we always sort of underestimate the Indy NXT iRacing series. Before we went live, I spoke to our broadcaster Julien Altena, and we were sort of saying, well, is it going to be a good race if there's 13 cars? Is it not really going to be one to watch? Is it going to be a bit of a snooze fest? But it never is with the Indy NXT cars. I think the way that this car races is just going to be absolutely fantastic. And even here at Gateway, which you are seeing live on your screens at the moment, June 6th, 2026, coverage starts from 21:05 Central European summertime. That is going to be one you will never want to miss. So, Seb, what are your thoughts after this tire management rules king, I'll say, at Detroit?
Well, I mean, I'd already say this was a great race, some great battles, good battles, some respect out there. That was fantastic. And you know what, Jack? I have only one word for everyone's watching the Velocity iRacing broadcast channel. Stay tuned for Gateway, because you're going to get more of that.
Exactly, and before we sign off, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has made this broadcast possible. That goes out to the ATVO Live Timing by App Engineering for all of the live timing access. Track cameras, of course, by TrackCams22, providing us with these iconic camera angles of Detroit for tonight. IndyCar onboards, of course, by Julien Altena. Custom IndyCar TV overlay by Andrew Schulte of SKS Graphix. And, of course, the broadcast man himself, Julien Altena. I have been Jack James. Alongside me has been Sebastian Kinder. And thank you so much for joining us tonight here at the Detroit Belle Isle Street Circuit. And we look to see you at Gateway very soon. Take it easy. Goodbye.